World Radio Day, and it's dedicated to the theme of radio and climate change. World Radio Day was proclaimed in 2011 by UNESCO member states. Radio broadcasters say the medium is critical in the face of new challenges facing the world. Now, the SABC has 18 radio stations catering for 11 official languages and plays a crucial role in amplifying the voices of communities by incorporating interviews, community stories and expert analysis. Broadcasters say they can demystify complex issues and encourage practical solutions. They say radio possesses a distinct ability to shape listeners' perceptions and counter false narratives as misinformation spreads. We're joined by, now expanding the conversation, Putco Mafani, who's host of Ezemidlalo Talk Back Hour on Umhlobo Wenene FM, who joins us for this discussion. A very good evening to you, Putco. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, you have experience behind the mic as a veteran broadcaster, influencing millions around the country throughout your career. How do you resonate with World Radio Day?
Well, I think Radio Day, it should be a day, in my view, that we not only celebrate the radio legends, but also celebrate the influence and power that radio has. I'm not sure if we've maximized on that kind of power and influence. And I remember, as someone who grew up during the days of the struggle, that there was even what was called then, well, some of the comrades were out there in exile, and some were incarcerated on Robben Island. But there was something called radio freedom. And I'm not sure if the country, particularly the powers that be, the political organizations that used to enjoy and exploit the power of radio, that we did a good thing as South Africans by getting rid of something as powerful as radio freedom, so that we use radio to educate, perhaps within the SABC, but that we use radio to also communicate the responsibilities that come with freedom. Yeah. And I'm not sure if we've done that enough. And perhaps days like World Radio Day should be days where we reflect on whether or not we are, making good use and maximizing and leveraging on the power of radio. Yeah. Radio gripped me, Mpo. I was 7 years old, and I was caught having opened a radio set, because I wanted to see these people that had such a profound influence and such remarkable, nice voices. And from there, the story goes to touring what was called then Radio Bantu, and then being locked up in cupboards at the boarding school, and as a newcomer, and the old comers would say, "Come on, give us the news, boy." And then I was only 13 years old in boarding school. And for me, radio shaped my life all the way. And I think there's an opportunity that as South Africans, we could utilize radio in a lot of socio-political issues that we get confronted with on a basis.
You speak about influence and the power of the medium of radio. What kind of platform do you think radio offers its listeners, irrespective of people's educational level, as we engage in this socio-economic or societal debate around the country?
This is very interesting, because over the years, as the media evolves, since the advent of technology, that there's still a great room for radio. There is no amount of Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or Instagram that can replace radio, because radio has the power of the voice. It has the power of the magic of being the theater of the mind, the tool blind fools. It is the world of two blind fools that when I talk to you on radio, you imagine me, you imagine what I'm wearing, you imagine height, you imagine my state of the body. I do the same as well. I get involved in an exchange sense of imagination. And so radio still holds a very, very special place in society and power. And I do believe that probably as South Africans, but as we move on with everything that is happening in South Africa, the government of national unity, a lot of other cultural and traditional issues that are confronting South Africa. And the question is, have we got radio platforms that are dedicated at educating? Because when the SABC crafted the three-legged pot of its strategy to entertain, to inform, and to educate, that was well thought. Yeah. And so our responsibility to educate can never have any expiry date. We ought to educate every day, and we will never run out or run short of subjects on which to educate. There is always a room that radio should educate South Africans. Radio should educate government officials to stay away from the temptations of corruption, of the sense of entitlement. And so
Putco, in fact, let's expand on that. I mean, as you speak about government officials and self-entitlement, and perhaps it leads me to this question on a broader concept on the role radio plays in shaping the public debate, not just the public debate as you and I speak in English, but expressing yourself and involving and giving your opinion in your own home language. I mean, how remarkable is that? And using such a platform to get those views in a language one is able to speak and understand with fluency and confidence.
There was a time, those that are in power, there was a time when they were fighting during the struggle. And that time is way behind us. If you use radio to change the mindset that we're no longer in a liberation struggle, but we're rather now in governance, and that we use the platforms that we used to call radio freedom, and use this to constantly educate the difference between liberating and governing. I'm not sure all of us in the public service, if we are aware that we're no longer in the struggle, and that probably we need a powerful platform such as radio that will for 24 hours remind us through programs that have talk and intermingled with music programs, programming that talks to what does it mean to serve the Department of Human Settlements? What does it mean to serve a particular municipality? What is the difference between the mandate of the municipality when it comes to sport versus the mandate of the provincial governments when it comes to sport? And all these critical issues got to be on a long two-way engagement with society, with us governing our own country, our own issues.
Absolutely.
And so this is now 2025, and perhaps we ought to think beyond what we're already doing with radio and ask new questions. How do we use radio to make sure that we have a better civil South Africa?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Putco. Thank you for weighing in on this very important conversation there and adding your part. Putco Mafani, host of Ezemidlalo Talkback Hour on Umhlobo, Wenene FM.